hCG Chica. I wanted to make a little video today talking about basically a phrase that I came across on a forum some time ago when someone was asking about the hCG protocol, and the person's comment said something to the effect of, the hCG diet is unsustainable. And you know, when I make these videos, I have no intention of trying to convince people who have already come to their own conclusions about this diet. I make these videos because I know that if I'm coming across these phrases, that you guys are coming across them too. And if you're new to the diet or you're considering doing it, reading those sorts of things or negative feedback about it can make you feel unsure of yourself and make you have doubts and make you feel worried. So this is for you guys to help you continue feeling confident that this protocol really does work and that it is a very effective way to lose and maintain your weight loss. So the hCG diet is unsustainable. And you know what? He's right, it is unsustainable. So are a lot of other activities like cycling and weightlifting. Those types of things you can only do for a certain period of time before you need to take a breather, right? In fact, with weightlifting, you can only do it for a few seconds sometimes, depending on how heavy it is, and then you have to take a break. You know, people frequently injure themselves by having bad form, by lifting too much weight that they're not really capable of, or maybe trying to do too much or too many reps when their body's already really tired, and that's how injuries happen. Now, when I go to CrossFit, I'm frequently commended on my good form for what I do, and I think that has to do with why I haven't experienced any major injuries in over 2.5 years of CrossFitting. The point here is that there are plenty of things that are healthy to do for a short duration of time that would not be healthy or even possible for longer durations of time. In fact, if you think about it, every diet on the planet that has weight loss as its aim is unsustainable, in the sense that, you know, to lose weight, obviously you're under eating, right, for what a maintenance level of calories would be. So that's not sustainable, right? Because eventually you would get to your goal weight and then you would actually need to adjust and increase your calories. You couldn't continue sustaining that diet level because you don't want to lose any more weight, right? You'd waste away to nothing. So you actually need to increase your level of calories to a maintenance level in order to then maintain. So if you think about it in that sense, really there's no diet that's sustainable long term, and really that's not the point. That's not the point of a diet. Diets are meant to be used for a period of time in order to achieve a goal, which is to lose weight. Once you've achieved that goal, you've lost the weight you want to lose, you're then ready to move on to something else and maintain that weight loss. So the thing is, the hCG diet is not meant to be sustained long term or to be done long term. Dr. Simeons, who originally wrote out his protocol called Pounds and Inches, I believe it was in the 1950s, he had it written out a certain way. The diet was to be done for 3 to 6 weeks only, and then there were successively longer breaks between each round of 3 to 6 weeks. I feel this is a sane and reasonable way to do this protocol. I have my own example, my own success story. It's been almost 2 years now that I've been maintaining my weight loss. You know, I started out at 34% body fat, which is obese, it's high, and you know, now I'm between 17 and 19% body fat. It's been almost 2 years of maintaining that now. Additionally, I have many other success stories on my blog, hcgchica.com, which I'll link to the episodes if you want to check them out in the article that goes with this discussion. But there's all kinds of other women that I've interviewed that have done this protocol, that have found success with it, and who are maintaining their weight loss. So I feel this is living proof, you know, that this protocol does work. You know, now, however, if you take anything and misuse it, surely it will cause harm. I was trying to think of an example to talk about this, and I was thinking about my iPad mini. I don't have a cover for my iPad mini because I feel like it makes it too bulky. So I'm a very careful person, and I always keep it in my purse. So I'm very careful with it, and I've never had a problem. However, one day my husband he had it, and he was in a rush, and he had a stack of books and my iPad with no cover, of course, on top, just kind of hanging out there, and he went rushing out of the house. And yes, you guessed it, the iPad fell from his, hands, and he's a 6 foot tall guy, all the way to the concrete sidewalk. And amazingly, it still works, but it definitely doesn't look the same, and probably its lifespan has been shortened. So the lesson here is that, obviously that was a misuse of the iPad, right? iPads should not be carried around without a cover on top of a stack of books. And my husband promised never to do it again. But anyway, so the same thing with the hCG protocol. It was not meant to be used for long periods of time. So to do that would be a misuse of the diet. And yes, in that case, there could be consequences. Just like I cracked my iPad, there can be consequences from staying on a protocol like this for months at a time. It's just not how it was meant to be used. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the hCG diet being unsustainable is not a good argument for whether or not it's healthy, because it wasn't designed to be sustained. That's not what the protocol is. Just like we don't have to consider weightlifting because it's unsustainable, because you can't, lift 200 pounds for more than 10 seconds. That doesn't mean that it's not healthy, right? It's just that it's supposed to be used in a certain way, and the same thing with the hCG protocol. So when the protocol is done according to the way Dr. Simeon's designed it, which I'm not saying that you can never make alterations to it. I'm really not that dogmatic about it. I've made alterations myself. But when you stick to, on average, a 3 to 6 week time frame for the hCG diet, I have found in my observation, with my experience and watching so many other people, that it is a very efficient and effective way, not just to lose weight, but to lose fat. I've had a lot of hydrostatic body fat testing done, which is actually a reliable way to know, what you're actually losing. Because, for a lot of the people who are concerned about this diet being unhealthy, one of their main concerns is that you may possibly be losing a lot of muscle. But I've done a lot of testing throughout all my rounds, and I had a very high percentages of fat loss, especially in my later rounds. And the great thing about it is that I only had to do it for 6 weeks, I had to be focused. Yes, it's strict, right? It's very strict and difficult, but it's only for this several weeks. And then you're done with that, and then you get to be eating like more of a paleo or low carb lifestyle, where you're taking in a maintenance level of calories, which is usually more enjoyable. And everyone probably has their preference for how they like to do things, but for me, the way I look at it, that worked best for me was that instead of having to spend a whole year or 2 years being in diet mode, where with another traditional diet, I would have to be eating under my maintenance level of calories, for a long period of time, for a year, day to day, in order to lose the weight that I wanted to lose. And for me, that's something I wanted to avoid if I could. I didn't want to have to be in diet mode for a whole year. In fact, when I started hCG, I don't think I would have been able to do that, because at the time my son was 14 months old. I was still nursing him. I was trying to break away from that, which was emotional, and I was dealing with a binge eating disorder, and my health wasn't good, and I just had a lot going on, and I don't think I had enough mental and emotional and physical reserves to commit to a diet mode, for a whole year. So rather than doing that, I was able to, with hCG, commit to a diet mode for 6 weeks. And yes, granted, it was more strict than a traditional diet, but it was only 6 weeks. I could do that, and then after the 6 weeks were up, I could eat at maintenance level. I didn't have to worry about feeling hungry or just in day-to-day life not being able to eat things all the time. Because with phase 3, the no starches, no sugars phase, essentially is basically eating low carb. There is so much variety there. There's not necessarily a specific calorie intake. Some of you track calories, but that's something I've always hated to do, and it's something that I've been able to avoid and still maintain. So for me, that really worked well. and allowed me to have my other focuses in life, which were my family and my health and other things that were going on. And I was still able to fit in losing weight because it was just short pockets of time instead of like a whole year where I had to be totally focused on it. And you know, I understand the argument that we all need to learn to operate a consistent, healthy lifestyle while still dealing with all the other things going on in our life, right? I get that argument. But the part that I feel that gets left out is that being on a diet is totally different than living a healthy lifestyle at maintenance while dealing with things in life. So losing weight it's an endeavor, right? It's something different versus having a healthy lifestyle. Say if you're eating paleo or low carb or whatever, but you're eating at maintenance level, that's different. That's easier, and that's something that you can do, that I have done while dealing with all the crazy stuff going on in life. Losing weight isn't somehow like a lifestyle that we need to get accustomed to, right? In fact, I think that's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get away from that mentality where diet is our lifestyle, right? So when you consider, you know, all the different things that we have going on in our lives, and I'm very well aware of this because, you know, over the past couple years, I have been in private email contact with literally thousands of you guys, thousands of you hCGers embarking on this protocol. And you know, you're raising kids. You have parents or grandparents that get cancer. You have a boyfriend or a husband who ended up in the ICU because they got into a serious car accident. You have, you know, loved ones dying. You have your own personal emotional crises you're going through, abusive relationships. Just, there's so many things that you're dealing with that aren't going to go away. And if there's a way to not have to live under a maintenance level of eating for long periods of time, if there's a way to do that, that works, to me that just makes sense to do. Because that's one less thing that you're gonna have to deal with on a long, consistent basis. So I hope that helps. I was just trying to dispel a little bit more information out there because the person who wrote that phrase, you know, the hCG diet's unsustainable, I mean, it was obviously meant as a way to say it wasn't healthy or that it was bad, but in reality, it just honestly just didn't even make sense what he said. And just for fun, I came up with a list of things that most of us, including myself, enjoy at least occasionally that are not sustainable. Eating French fries 3 times a day. Surfing Pinterest for more than 12 hours straight, definitely not sustainable. Buying everything that catches your eye, unless you're really rich. Peeing perpetually. Okay, so that's not something we all occasionally enjoy, but anyway. Sometimes I get irritated about things that I read about this because I know it's misconstrued and it's gonna confuse people and make them feel bad, and it's just frustrating, you know, because when I think of what this protocol's done for me, you know, I was obese. I lost 50 pounds. I didn't have any hope of losing weight where I was at. I had tried so many things, so many other diets, and it's not that they wouldn't have worked. It's that they didn't fit me. Like I couldn't stick to them for one reason or another. One of them was that I was addicted to sugar, which hCG totally broke that for me. It broke that habit. So they just did not work well for me personally. And so I was so glad to discover this. And I just really want to make sure that other people who are doing this don't get overly discouraged or confused by people, you know, just opening their mouth and blabbing whatever they want to say. Or, you know, when you're typing online, it's so easy to type anything. It's so easy to type something mean or cruel or thoughtless. And the thing is the things said have no merit. You know, there's no basis for them to prove that they're true. So anyway, I hope you guys found that helpful. You can find me on Facebook, hCG Chica, Instagram, hCG Chica, and of course my blog, which you may be there now, hcgchica.com. Tons of free advice to help you guys. And if you want to stay connected with me, you know, get my latest posts. I'm constantly putting out new information. Usually I have one new video podcast article a week. So it's not like information overload, but once a week, usually Tuesdays, you can get on my email list. That's really the best way to be kind of kept up to date with that type of stuff. And you can easily do that just by going to my blog. You'll see various places to opt in to my email list. And like I said, I pretty much email you guys once a week, sometimes twice, because sometimes I'll actually email you guys asking for your feedback to help me write these articles that I write. You know, for instance, I'm doing an article on whether or not to weigh on hCG. And you know me, I'm not a dogmatic person when it comes to a lot of things, because I've just come to realize that different things work for different people. We all have a different kind of inner working, and I feel that the best way to success is to actually work along with that, which will be different from person to person. But anyway, so I'm writing an article on, you know, weighing daily, not weighing, weighing once a week on hCG. And so I emailed everyone just asking for their feedback, saying like, what do you guys do and why? You know, why does it work for you? I'm going to include it in the blog post anonymously. And I got like, I think I have like 150 people who emailed me back right away and to let me know, you know, and it's such great feedback, because then I can include it in these discussions, and it just gives you guys more information to be able to make the best choice for you. So, all right, that's it. Take care, you guys. Bye.